Molen Associates is a tax accounting and wealth management firm, family owned for a little under 40 years, owned and operated in Houston, Texas. Well, at Molen Associates, there are three things that we do that no other firm has. All three of these things that we do that make us unique. At Molen Associates, we are education focused. And what that means to us is that we make sure that we provide you not just answers to your immediate questions, but also help open your understanding and kind of give you more knowledge in regards to how your tax return works, not just reactively, meaning from the previous year, but also proactively in looking at planning for the coming year. All of our tax professionals are encouraged and trained to teach some of these fundamental tax principles that most people just don't understand. The second aspect is that we tailor each specific tax appointment to our client's needs. And so when you come to see us at Molen and Associates, we make sure that we pivot based on the questions that you have right then and there, whether you're self-employed or you have rental properties or other investments to consider. And so it's not kind of our way or the highway. It really is very reactive and using our competencies to make sure that the tax return is tailored to your specific facts and circumstances. And then the third thing that really sets us apart is that we offer a lifetime of service. I have many clients who I do tax returns for the grandparents and the parents and the children and the grandchildren, 4 generations of people who come to see me, as well as brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles. We really build relationships that last generations. And so in that way, we offer a lifetime of service. If you come to see us once, it's extremely likely that you will continue to come back and see us because we strive our best to build relationships, not just do tax returns, but really develop those professional relationships with the people that we do business with. So the story of Molen Associates is pretty unique. There was one individual who worked in law enforcement who had graduated the academy, going to security extra jobs and work in kind of 1099 contract work, which in the tax world is very impactful to your tax return. Even small amounts can have a large impact on the outcome of the tax return itself. And this individual came to my father, to Ward, asking, what do I do about this? How can I do this better? How can you help me? And Ward, being a certified management accountant in the oil and gas industry, really enjoyed his tax classes in college, but hadn't really delved too deeply into that. This was early in the 80s when the oil and gas industry kind of had some difficulties. And so he started doing tax returns specifically for this one individual, which then turned into many individuals, specifically in law enforcement. And so a specialization or a niche really started to come through. And Ward really understood what the IRS was looking for in regards to what was reasonable, what was logical, what was reasonable for law enforcement individuals. And that knowledge only grew. And at this point, we've done over 30,000 law enforcement tax returns in the history of our company. And that has given us a tremendous amount of expertise. Well, and see, that's very interesting because born from specializing in law enforcement, these are individuals who work as self-employed individuals in regards to this contract work for security extra jobs. And what we ended up learning very quickly was a lot of the things that the logic and the theory that applied in law for those who work self-employed for law enforcement carries forward to a lot of other self-employed individuals. For example, I'm fluent in American Sign Language, and a lot of the concepts and the interpretation of the law that applies to law enforcement also applies to contract interpreters, of which I do tax returns from Arizona and California to New York and Florida. And so we do tax returns not just for law enforcement, but really we specialize in self-employed individuals. Yeah, one of the things that we pride ourselves on at Molen Associates is straying a little bit from the norm in the tax industry, in that they really put files on their desk, and the next one on the pile is the next one that they do. Really will do about 2,000 tax returns in a little over 10 weeks. And so we have to have real systematized processes. Those processes consist of 7 days from the interview, and really 7 days from the day that we have all of the information necessary to complete the tax return is done. And so a file doesn't go on my desk in a pile and I get to it when I can. It really has a delivery date just from the time we've determined that we have everything, which is really fantastic. I was raised to believe that frustrations only come from unrealized expectations, and that has been a motto of my life, and it really has transitioned to being a motto for Molen Associates, because what we try to do is create these expectations in every point of contact, every email, every phone call, setting expectations of what's coming next and when everything will be completed. Okay, so at Molen Associates, we interview almost every single client that comes through the door. There are a few exceptions, but that's usually only in cases of college students, kids of my clients, and that kind of thing. We really place a lot of value on the interview. The reason why we require that almost every single client goes through one of our generally hour-long interviews is because those who put their tax documents in the mail and send it to their tax firm, that accountant or that tax professional is not really digging and asking the questions to try and uncover additional information. I just had a couple of clients this past tax season who came to see me who weren't even truly aware of their requirements with partnerships that they have, and so making sure that they were aware that they have a filing requirement or that partnership could be null and void through the state of Texas. It's added value that comes in. There's also additional deductions that people just don't realize that they can claim, that in going through that digging in that interview of me asking questions, it really helps uncover more deductions that people are just leaving on the table because they don't understand.